Hi, this is Pete Eckman with the RoboZone Podcast. It's been a hot minute since FRC season ended. We're now almost in October. We're right on the precipice, 1 week to go for October, which means it's FTC season. Now, RoboZone wants to cover FTC more, so we're going to put some more episodes out there this fall. Whet the appetite for FRC season because the majority of us are FRC mentors as well. So I have a couple FTC mentors slash FRC mentors here. Let's get some introductions done. Ed, you're first up.
Hi, I'm Ed Wynne. I'm the high school FRC coach in Hartland, Michigan. Used to be an FTC coach, so I might know what I'm talking about, might not. And I'm currently the lead controls mentor for basically the entire program because I'm the only software engineer that we have.
So you're the grand poobah, jack of all trades, utility guy when it comes to coding across the entire threshold of Hartland Robotics.
Sure.
Okay,
I
that's
try
really
to
long on
teach,
a
but it
t-shirt.
all falls back on me.
Yeah, it's really long on a t-shirt. We'll have to put some cool acronym together. We'll work on that. With
Okay.
yeah. Uh, and Jacob, we have Jacob. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jacob Hardy. I am the representative for Tractor Nation. Specifically, I am the middle school guy. I run every program at the middle school level so that means typically tractor technicians in training, all 8 of our teams, including our new unified team. And I also run our JV team, 8424, which is 7th and 8th graders competing at FRC. Uh, so lots of teams, lots of places, lots of different things I got to run.
So what do you call the little guys? Not little guys. They're gonna find me. The FTC team. What do you call them? Mini tractor
So
technicians or
every one of our teams that's middle school FTC is tractor technicians in training, and then
got it.
some color.
So like the average Joes, which is a high school team here in Michigan, I saw their little guys at their comp at the St. Joe comp last year, and they said little Joes. So you had the average Joes and the little Joes. I thought that was cool. What do you guys do there over in Heartland?
We don't.
The fledgling Eagles?
No. Well, each team is something Eagles. So we
Yeah.
have like the Steel Eagles and the Sonic Eagles and the Static Eagles, which that turned out to be a really bad name because that team is plagued by static discharge that kills their bot all the time. But
Interesting.
it's always something Eagle.
Well, I want to welcome you guys on board. I don't think we're rusty. I think we're ready to go. The cycles are already, the oil's there. I want to make some type of swerve reference, but that's not applicable to FTC. So you
Actually,
guys,
Maybe this year,
yeah.
yeah.
we're doing a swerve on one of the teams this year.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
We looked at it really hard this year.
But I thought it was a motor constraint.
You do too.
Ah,
So we're doing four
Oh,
with a motor and one of
and
those
servo.
new Axon servos that are really awesome.
okay.
Yeah, for
Look,
the
secret sauce. Well, if it's probably applicable because the rules change, we'll just jump into Decode this year. So, Decode this year has ranking points, so they're starting to be like the big boys in FRC, and
it's a half step.
yeah. But you guys have Swerve coming on, so you're borrowing the Swerve from the high school level and bringing it down to the middle school level, which will be interesting. I'd like to hear about that. Before we get to that, Ed, tell us
Yes.
what you think about Decode.
I actually think it could be one of the most interesting FTC games in a couple of years. Uh,
Interesting.
it's a shooter that I love. We haven't had a good shooting game in FTC in many years. The last one was those orange rings, which that was awful. But and this is what I love is the whiff. Sorry, they keep telling me they're not wiffle balls. All the kids are very adamant they're pickleballs
Artifact.
or
Oh,
something.
pickleball.
Um, like it's the same ball from Steamworks. And
It is.
I have trauma over our robot that tried to shoot these balls in Steamworks and was like
Yeah.
no two wiffle balls fired the same. Um,
But this isn't firing in the same distance that we
nope,
did for that,
I
right?
agree.
And you're
I
not aiming a hole for a hole this large on the top of a
oh
thing.
no, it'll be an easier challenge, but like all of the kids came out and was like, "Oh, this is going to be easy," and they like take a ball and like tossed it, and I'm like, "That doesn't mean anything. You got to build a robot to do that."
All right, before we get too far, Jacob, what'd you think of Decode when it was released?
It was for me, it's the first shooter that I've seen in FTC. And for me, the echo was crescendo. That was me because like
Mhm.
we have like crossing path lines now
We do.
where we have
Mhm.
to worry about, and defense is going to be like a huge part of the game because protected zones are pretty minimal and on the outside of the field. So strangely enough, like I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to not just like be like, don't go into that spot. I have to actively teach kids defense this year.
Which is
And
which is cool because last year you couldn't play defense.
Nope.
no,
So
Defense traditionally is not big in FTC, but it's going
no,
to be there this year.
so
you know,
go ahead, Jacob.
well, it's actually created like a little bit of a paradigm shift for me because I have to talk like ethically about defense, right? Because middle schoolers are still like battle bots, and they're
Right.
like, and you'd be like, no, that's not what defense is.
Wait, Jacob, how can you have experience in the high school ranks? They still think it's battle bots and they still try to ram things at 50 plus miles per hour at well,
It
26
kind of is.
26 feet per second with a full-blown level 4 swerve drive on a robot.
Absolutely, you know. So it creates as what I'm starting to trying to like get gracious professionalism, trying to plant that seed, but we're talking defense this year and like going like, yeah, like this is like a very much part of the strategy. And if you want to win, you have to be aware that it's going to be out there. And that
Mhm.
some teams are going to build around defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of cool. But you still have the height restraint, right? So,
Hmm.
the changes between FRC where you could build really high robots, you guys are always stayed in that 18-inch, and you guys can't expand until the end game, so you can't
Which
put
is a
panels up.
fascinating change to the game, as you
Yeah.
point out.
Yeah.
It like the first day before I had read the rules and hadn't really picked that up, we're talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. And I read the rules and I'm like, oh, no, we can't.
So the number one thing everyone should do is read the rules.
Reading the rules is very good. I
Yes.
was not prepared for not being able to expand outside the 18 inches.
So it was interesting that I watched the video again to refresh myself before this, and it was a couple interesting. Made some notes. They called it an alliance goal, right? And then they said the classifier ramp, which totally is not in line with the theme of it, right? Decode the agent thing. That's kind of the
Right.
the artifact. They call
In,
artifacts the
we're
balls, which is cool.
encoding, not decoding.
Right, right. But I'm saying, I thought the where you shoot the ball into, which is the alliance goal, it would be called something different. The pyramid, or
Isn't it the depot?
is it?
Just the goal. I'm looking at the game
Yeah,
manual right now.
it's called the alliance goal. That's what they
Hmm.
said.
Hmm.
And the classifier ramp, which is the ramp it comes down, right? And then you can put them in sequences, which was the motif pattern. So I'm
Hmm.
going, wow, they're bringing in like a lot of different things here. Usually the theme is really wrapped in tight, right? So I found that very interesting. So Ed and Jacob, you guys talked a little bit about the game. Let's start breaking game down, right? You have the Alliance goal, which you're shooting into. You have the classifier ramp, which is the artifacts go up and down, and then you go in random sequences, or um, me putting my FRC mentor hat on, how to sort that so you can get it up and in, or coordinate with your other team is going to be vital, right? So communication,
Hmm.
right, Ed?
Absolutely. I mean, the big thing about the game this year is you can't both just score. If you do, you won't get patterns, and you
Right.
need the patterns. So there's going to have to be communication there. I mean, in a lot of games, you go do your thing, I'll go do my thing on this side. There's none of that this year. You have to coordinate. Um, the one thing we've been looking at though is you don't necessarily have to coordinate until near the end of the game. Because if you fill the classifier ramp, you get points for all the balls that go in there. Then you go
Hmm.
flip the door, you let them all out, you pick them up again, you throw them again. You don't actually have to have the right patterns there until the end of the game where they get counted. So
Okay.
that's kind of you're gonna have a free for all section, and then okay, stop. We got to get them in the right order.
But don't you have to get them in the right order in Auton? You get extra points for doing
Hmm.
it.
Yes.
right? So if you have one good robot that could say, let's play a role playing game. Ed, you are team A and I'm team B, and you say you can do the classifier, you can do the artifacts, and you can do them in a sequence. And I say, are you sure? And you say, yes, we can do it. Okay, good. So what does the other robot do if you're shooting all the artifacts in? Because you only get three, right? You only preload with three?
You only preload three, but
Yep.
you can always pick up more.
True.
So honestly, I think the best thing you could do would be to hand off.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of how we're looking at some of our autos. It's immediately fire versus wait 5 seconds and fire. You
Okay.
know, that kind of thing where we're thinking if we're partnered with somebody that can't fire, then it's all us.
Sure.
And if we're partnered with someone that can, we're going to try to do, but if other teams don't do it, I mean, there's not a lot you can do there.
Yep. Let's
So
talk more.
you
Let's
basically negotiate and say, oh, we can do 2 sequences. You know, what can you do? And
sure.
it becomes part of scouting, whether you believe them or not.
So let's break this down let's do it by the game, right? Auton, driven, and then end game. So
Yeah.
Jacob, what's your theory on the biggest thing in Auton, right?
I mean, so where I kind of like the cheapo option of what we're talking about here is that if you're not confident in your ability to like match the motif, then what you do is you preload three purples because you're guaranteed two matches. And so the loss is 2 points,
Right.
or so and so you do that and you're going to get two matches and then you can the difference between a team that spends a lot of time getting that pass off or getting that sorting right is going to be pretty minimal unless they're really advanced and going and grabbing a bunch of balls and then being able to sort or
Mhm.
like manage their pickup, which is a lot to ask of a team, especially with the like if you've tried to place those artifacts on the field. They're really going to be really easy to knock around and jostle, like unless you've
Yep.
got some like good sensors on that robot to hunt those pieces down. So it's a pretty tall order, like very complex like task, despite its like simplicity that you might think. And so auto, that's when you get your match. And your goal for the ranking point, right, is to get 9 total matches, both at the end of auto and end game combined. So hopefully you walk out of auto with like 4 matches,
Mhm.
right? Like that's if you all choose purple and you're guaranteeing that like as long as those all score, we're gonna get 4. Then at end game, your goal is just to make sure that 5 of those match the motif. And if I was human players, I'd be like, the only pattern that you put in is this pattern the
Yep.
whole
Right.
time, right? And so then like a lot of robots are going to be like those starter bots, they're going to fire in the order that they're fed, right?
Mhm.
And so that's really important. And if you're driving, as it's already been pointed out, like absolutely doesn't matter, what order until the very end of the game. So the
Right.
big communication is going to be when you're slamming that gate and opening up your classifier ramp and emptying it out because you want to empty out that classifier ramp as often as you can through that whole game
Mhm.
because it's worth triple the points for every one of those that you score on that ramp. So you want to be cycling through that ramp, not just who can shoot the most. If you're not pressing that ramp and clearing it out, then you're missing out on points.
Yep.
So let's transition to the human driver portion of this, right? So you have scoring, picking up and scoring the artifacts. You have opening that chute, or clearing that classifier ramp,
The
which
gate.
is
Yeah.
pretty easy, which is just a finger up and down, right? But would they want to know or have communication of trying if there's already three that are matching in there, would you keep those in there so you have to watch when you're triggering that mechanism?
Depends. It
Right.
depends on how good of a scorer the alliance is.
Right, right.
If, if you're not confident that you can make it up, then it's probably better to stay. If
Right.
you are if you know you have enough time to fill that classifier ramp up again,
Hmm.
you should do it. And you should also probably and it comes down like there are gonna be heartbreaking matches where someone hits that classifier ramp, even barely,
Oh yeah.
and it's It's the end game, and then suddenly everything empties out.
No,
Yeah.
man,
Now, a
man.
lot of it's just going to be timing.
Timing
So,
and communication, though,
and
right?
as the season progresses, I think you'll see things get a lot tighter. People will be conservative at the start, especially if they're ahead, which is they should be.
Right,
So,
right. Don't screw the lead up, right? If you
right.
have the lead, don't
Well,
screw it up.
That
and the
that
game's
was
got like some balance to it. Like if a
yeah,
team pulls ahead, it gets harder for them to score.
Wow.
yeah, because all your balls are over on the other side now, not necessarily
Mhm.
in a convenient area for you to get to.
Okay, so we talked about the driving piece would be the crucial one, constant communication and watching what you do and making good decisions, right? Let's talk about endgame. This is the first time that I've seen where you're going to try to, and we've tried to do this in the past, right? At the FRC level, we've done this in deep space. We've done this in power up. We've
Mhm.
done this multiple times in different methods, but I've never seen where one had to fit underneath each other, right?
Right. That's the wrinkle. So
That's the
you
Mhm.
wrinkle.
can partial park, or if you go for the gold, you have to stack.
So you're going to have is going to have to make the conscious decision to get skinny, right? How doing that? There's multiple ways to do that.
Yes.
Compressing. It's not compressing from front to back. It's only compressing sides because in theory, just based on what we saw in the video, is that you would need to drive over it. But how would you do that, right?
Well, I mean, technically, and I look forward to seeing this. Someone's going to do it. There was a robot a couple years back that had a ramp that had another robot would drive on top of it.
Yeah.
Did not work very well. Um, so I mean, for this kind of thing, you're talking some kind of stilts or elevator lift, or you know, you got to go up, and then someone just scoots under you.
Wait, you can have pneumatics at FTC?
You can, I think you can do a compressed. Don't stop it, Pete. You can do gas springs, I think, but you can't do pneumatics.
I'm thinking linear rail if we do it. Like
Oh, the infamous linear rail. Tell me more, Jacob.
Oh my gosh.
God, it's hard to make it happen because I need motors elsewhere, right? So
Yeah.
but like if we have to make it happen, and we'll see. 8 teams, it's hard to manage my time to make it like to do the trial and error that this would require. Because we looked at the ramp, and the problem with the ramp is I can't extend horizontally.
No,
Like an 18-inch angle is rough,
Yep.
you got to
right?
get a running start and hit it, and then not overshoot.
Like I don't know how we would pull that off nicely. So if I'm gonna do something, there are like it's gonna be we're putting down like stilts and pushing them up with a heck of a lot of gear resistance built in. It would not be fast, and but it would be something that potentially like one or two motors might be able to pull off.
Mm. Highly geared boxes. Got it. It's
Yeah,
possible. But
That is also the most common thing we've talked about, but I don't think that's what we're gonna do.
it's not a high priority. The option that we are focused on is that like 15-point middle ground where you get one robot perfect and you poke the other robot in.
Yeah.
mm, mm,
Well, that'll be the easy one you can do with anybody.
Anybody should be able to do that. Because
Yeah.
if someone's fully 18 inches in this game, that is a problem.
Yes.
yes. Yes. At least width wise, right? You
Hmm.
could be if you're 18 wide, you're never going to fit. But if you do 16 wide and you're
Right.
18 long,
Then you have a slice.
you can have a
Yes.
slice, right? I hope someone's doing that. I want to see it. I want to see it.
I do too.
Yeah. What other things are big this year? We got ranking points, right? So ranking points is getting the FTC used to the FRC. We see a lot of this in the past few years where FRC makes a change, they try to push it slowly down to the FTC line. This is major change, right? There's major changes this year for FTC, just like there's major changes 2 years ago for FRC where we had a change to the ranking system last year, right? And we don't know what's going to happen this year. As a high school mentor only, I'm very interested to see what the tie is going to be between this game and our game because
Ooh,
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
always a tie. Not that it's the same game piece because we've already done this ball. I want a shooting game for high school
Right.
level. It's been a while, right?
I don't think we're going to get one.
Oh, come on, man.
I, I,
We
I'm
did pick
I'm
and
thinking
place last
Recycle
year.
Rush,
Huh?
and purely because I just registered the team and pre-ordered the field.
Yeah.
So 1/6 of the field is almost $500. And then the shipping was $80. I mean, and Andy Mark is just down the road from me. Like I'm Southern Michigan. So it's either big or it's heavy. One of the
Oh,
two for shipping to be that high, which means we're stacking.
come on.
I
Don't be
think,
a
well,
don't be a Debbie Downer.
I,
it's gonna be pattern. It's gonna be pattern based.
Oh, pattern
Like
base.
that's my thought, right? Like they've been
very
really
likely.
focused on vision,
Yep.
right? And they're really pushing vision in FTC this year, like
Yep.
very interesting. So I think that's my prediction is going to be that like we're going to have some kind of randomized patterns. I really like that when that's included in a game is
Hmm.
this randomized element
I
because it
think the
makes
elements are going to be different, and we got to
ooh,
put them together. Like instead of a uniform tote like Recycle Rush had, I think we have big elements that are different shapes and sizes, and we're going to have to manipulate them as we put them back together, thus
Okay.
rebuilt.
We could talk about FRC for an hour. Let's take it back. Take it
Okay.
back to FTC. That's the benefit of us all being FRC coaches. We naturally think that way. So one of the big things when I first saw this, I saw it the day after because I was out of town. I saw it the day after, and the first thing I thought about, and there's a local team here for Harper Creek. They're the Iron Dams, and I said, "Hey guys." We had the same game element. I printed one out on my 3D printer just because I have one of the Steamworks balls to make sure it was the same kind of configuration, and it is. I said, you
Yep.
want to go back and look at Steamworks. He said, what's Steamworks? I said, a couple years ago, we did this exact same element, the same weight. It's basically the same, just a different color, right?
Yep.
You guys go look at that and see what the sorting things are that they did like that. And they found one and they prototyped this. And I don't want to give too much away about the like an indexing, a circle indexing
We call it the
ooh.
Spindexer.
spindexer.
We are developing one as well.
Okay.
I think
Because
we're going to see a lot of
I
them.
could see, I think that, but that's the smart way to do it because you can index, which we had to do at that, and we've had to do that with other FRC games. Two, it's not rocket science either. It's a proven model, but I said go look at all some of the things that they did. Pickup mechanisms too, dual wheels, front and top, back, however you want to put it. But kind of inspire them and say, here, there's all kinds of designs out there because the high school teams love sharing that stuff, right? So this is one of those games, I'm sure you guys would agree, that you can borrow ideas from or iterate
We,
off of.
we've we have never had FTC go over the high school robots as much as they have the last 2 weeks,
That's
ever.
cool. That's cool.
So, and I mean, I brought up Steamworks too, because that was the same ball.
Hmm.
Uh, but the big one, they're looking at our infinite recharge bots.
Ah,
Yeah.
tell me more.
Well, that was so. I mean, we ended up calling that one perpetual recharge because we kept playing it because it was the COVID year. But we ended up building 3 different robot designs and trying a bunch of things. And the lemons were compressible; they were hard to use. But that was where we came up with the Spindexer idea. And then we had a turret on top and a little thing that would pop down and fire them up. And so we've got like one of our teams is building a swerve, another one of our teams is doing a full rotational turret. They're all using some variation of the Spindexer. It's
That's
interesting.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you
It's as
borrow
far as I know, this is the first turret we've ever built at FTC in Hartland.
Jacob, are you guys thinking the same line? You're doing a lot of nodding.
So like we're also trying out a spin dexer, but once again, I'm torn 8 different ways. So like this is the year where I'm like really looking at this like cool, like we really pushed starter bots this year. So and the starter bot is, I think, going to be something that is modifiable. Like fairly easily. Like there's a lot of space on the front there for a ground intake. When you play human robot, like if you have a field, you
Yep.
can have the kids go play it, and it's really helpful for getting them to like learn the game.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the first things they noticed right off the bat is that ground intake, which then leads to looking at like high school robots, looking at other games,
Mhm.
because they looked at like last year's like crescendos like intakes where they were picking off the floor and they were looking at those designs with like the functional robot that we still have around the shop. Um, and so that's been a lot of the focus for us. They're trying out a spindexer, and it has, I think, a lot of potential, especially if paired with a strong auto, right? That's where like being able to index makes a huge difference.
Yep.
Is because back to like careful planning could fix a lot of the advantage of that in the tele-op phase, but you can't really teach your robot to like discern colors unless you design your robot to do those kinds of things ahead of time.
Right.
Yep.
But I mean, the days of having color sensors, we've had them for years, right?
Hmm.
Years. Not It's not something brand new. But just to put, I don't know how you guys are powering your indexers, but I could see it just being a servo. It's not like these objects are very heavy. Um, so it helps to conserve the motors for what I want to see Ed swerve at FTC levels.
I
So
do too.
I think it's going to be a cool game. Everyone likes a shooting game. I personally want to see how far over the alliance goal these balls end up. I can see a lot of into the crowd shooting. In fact, I
Yeah.
can't remember who was telling me they're prototyping, and the kids went overboard with the motor speed, and they shot a ball across the entire build space and hit a kid in the face, like right here. And he said, guys, we only have to put like 4 to 6, maybe
Right.
8 feet. You
Like
don't have to
12
shoot
feet.
it. Yeah, you don't have to shoot well if you're arcing, right? If you don't want to shoot it, you're not shooting a football field, right? So don't put I'm going to use a Kraken motor. Don't put a Kraken motor on an FTC robot. It'd be hilarious, but you guys don't have the battery
X44
power
would
for that.
work great.
What's that?
The X44 would work
Yeah,
great.
it's great.
If you
I
had a
mean,
big battery,
I
Eh,
mean,
Even a little one. Those things are awesome.
nice humble
I
brag.
in general, it doesn't. It's not going to take much to
Right.
get those in.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you're overpowering it, then you're going to spend a heck of a lot more time tuning it than you
Yeah.
probably need to.
Nice, easy lobs, I think is the name of the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've heard of the jug shooter, which is basically like at the football where you got the two wheels that are going like
Hmm.
this. I've heard the ones coming top and bottom. I've heard catapults where you're just catapulting kind of and it
Yeah.
kind of, like a
But
This
We
is where the oh you go first.
I was just gonna say a bunch of the prototypes we've done are just one-wheeled shooters with a hood,
yep.
and
That's
those work great.
Yeah.
those are the well how the starter bots work, and that's what I was going to say is that like it's just a little curve and one wheel,
Yeah.
and that's all you need.
And
Yeah.
you can adjust the hood with the servo a little bit
Yep.
That's
And
how we
take
did.
farther or longer shots if you can tune.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's infinite recharge, right? That's infinite
Yeah.
recharge was that hood. We had a hood too on my robot.
Yep.
So,
So did we. And it was powered by a servo.
yeah. So a lot of designs that teams, and even if they're in the thick of it right now, trying to, maybe it's not working out, there are still designs you can go out there and look at and reference. So, especially starter teams. This is what I love about this kind of thing, is that um, I love rookie teams because I'd like to see, teams that come out of the blue and we've never seen, and they have like really good robots. We're tending to see at the high school level rookie teams that are just knocking things out of the park the first year. I'm like, wait, when I was a rookie, I couldn't do that stuff. But I mean, because we share resources and designs, and it's all about helping each other. I think, rookie teams are a lot more capable now, is what I'm saying, than they used to be in the past. So
They also have much better tools at their disposal.
true,
So
true. Is
back
that
in the day, man, it was rough.
is that an AI joke? No.
No, I'm
Whoa. We
I'm not
have
a
like
huge
the
AI
tool
fan.
Yeah.
The cool thing about first is that like we have got like these robot in 30 hours and stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah.
right? For FTC, robot in 3 days for FRC.
Yeah.
Like there's now a whole community and system built around like providing
I
resources
know.
for teams that to get started. So like at this point, like when I talk to a new team, it's like you don't need to build in every bot if you got the effort and will. Like let's shop around, we'll find something, and you're gonna do way better than you might think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
At every level too. At FTC level, FRC level, same thing. The robot in 30 hours was kind of cool. I watched a couple of those, but like you said, Jacob, the robot in 3 days, I always watch every year. I'm like,
Hmm.
Me
just
too.
because they prototype things and they iron things out where our team would say, yeah, we want to do that. And they look at those and they'll go, oh, wow, that's really not going to work. You're not wasting that time and resources to do that. Not that they have to wait. I'm just saying to prove things out so you don't have to worry about going too
It's
far
a
down.
built-in head start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It brings the floor up for all the teams. So,
Yeah.
right. What else about this game is unique that you're looking forward to seeing, Ed? Other than his shooting game and some of the stuff we've seen in the past?
Um, well, so this technically is the first one that you have to use April tags if you want to do well.
Okay.
There's not, I mean, I suppose technically there's nothing you can do in auto um, if you don't parse the April tag. You can do the trick where you load all purple and you get close.
Hmm.
Technically, once you get into tele-op, you could have a key sequence or something, or you just know because you're humans, depending on the automation level of your robot. But if you want to do well and come out of auto strong, you have to do April tags. So that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a differentiator. Because by and large, if you don't have a limelight, April tags are going to be very hard. Um, and depending on how you do your shooting, that might factor in as well.
Okay.
Which is why I'm very interested and excited that this is a shooting game.
Hmm.
It's not high precision shooting. I expect to see a bunch of robots that basically drive to a position and just do like a pew pew, a nice easy lob. And then I think we're going to have overachieving bots that you either use odometry and track where they are on the field, or use live April tags for targeting, and are going to try to fire from the back. Those are
Hmm.
going to be the ones that I'm going to pay attention to. We have a team that is going to try to do that, which should be interesting.
If you get a rotating turret, like
And that is one of the teams. Yep.
Interesting.
So the thing is we got three teams. One of them's doing a swerve with a fixed shooter, and the other one is doing McKenna with a rotating turret because they think both would be overkill. And they're probably right. But I'm very curious to see which one works out better in the end.
I've always thought that if you have a swerve chassis, you don't need a turret because all you need to do is spin the chassis.
For the most part, I would completely agree with that. We did a turret in FRC a couple years ago for
Mhm.
the oh, I'm losing it. The note game, the big orange rings.
Crescendo.
Crescendo, thank you. And it was really cool, and we got a bunch of design accolades for it, but it
Mhm.
was completely and utterly unnecessary. We just didn't need that precision, and it dominated all of the other design choices that we made. We wanted to put a hanger on there. Oh, we couldn't. The turret moves through that spot.
Right, right. And we did
So
the same thing. We didn't build a turret. We just used the swerve chassis for what it was worth. And that was
yeah,
the crescendo, the orange, rings that didn't end up lasting very long.
yeah, they really chewed up.
But hey, at least you guys are using a game piece that is durable.
Yeah,
And you can reuse them as dog toys after the season's done.
uh, sure.
Oh, dogs love those things.
Oh, they
My dog
do.
loves the one I have from Steamworks.
But then you get crap inside them, and then
It's called washing them off, Ed.
okay.
There's a
Maybe
bathtub.
my
There's a
dogs just are more vigorous about.
called a tub of water, and you just wash it off, and then you give it back to the dog. Ed. We'll leave that at that before it gets too bad.
Okay.
What other things, Jacob, are we not thinking about or big points with this game because there's so many changes this year?
I think what you're gonna find is that like you really do need to be prepared. I don't we've already talked about it, but you have to be prepared for that defense element, right? Because if if you're one of the high performance teams, the thing you got to watch out for is that then at that point you're just going to reward that starter bot to sandbag you, and to make sure that you're going to all your favorite places. So if you can adjust the length of your shot, that'll
Mhm.
be a huge difference, because if you can fire from multiple places, then we're talking about something that's pretty major. Also, you got to worry about the fact that if you're doing really well, all right, then the problem is that all of your artifacts are going to dump into your opponent's like feeding zone, right? And so they got some protected areas over there that you got to be really mindful of.
Mhm.
And you also have your bar that's the for the classifier there, and that's a major penalty, right? Sitting actually really close to your opponent's space, and vice versa. Like when you go to pick up your own stuff, you got to be very mindful that there's a major penalty that's going to give your opponents a ranking point if they make contact with it, and they don't care how you make contact with that thing.
Right.
If you touch that opponent's bar, so back to defense, that's the one major penalty that like everybody needs to know, is that like stay away from that thing if it's not yours. And
I,
because it will reach up and bite you. And so and it's right near your feeding zone. So like it creates this little weirdness where they've got a major penalty sitting right next to like a protected zone. Right. That's so you got to be very careful. It almost like infringes on that protected zone. And you would probably, if you're not confident with your drivers, don't
Mhm.
take that risk and like give it a wider berth that it really needs.
I
So
agree with that completely.
you guys
Defense is
said,
always one of those things that kind of comes back to get you sometimes,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that this has that potential.
Since we're talking about defense, right? In FRC, like we made the battle bots reference. That's
I
why
like to
we
say full contact.
have bumpers, right? Do you see bumpers in the FTC world in the near future?
This game will make a big difference. Also, how they design the next game. I wouldn't honestly, for protecting your own robot, they tell you in the game, right? Like build like a robust robot. You probably want to make sure that your robot has got some guardrails on the edges to protect your more sensitive parts, because there's gonna be contact.
There will
Um,
be pushing this year, yeah. Which the thing that I've noticed over the years is if you're going to get a static zap, it happens when your robot touches either another robot or the field. So I think
Mm,
static's going to be a bigger issue this year because you're going to have robots actively trying to get into the way of other robots.
interesting. And you guys don't have bumpers to try to negate metal on metal contact.
Nope.
no,
But that,
Interesting.
I mean, even if it's not for cushioning,
Yeah,
you make a insulating bumper that protects you from that. So there might be a reason to have a wrap of some form.
interesting. I'm just wondering when they're going to make it mandatory, right? Because
Well, they need faster motors, right?
oh, come on,
right? I
do
don't, I
they?
I think there is going to be some pretty hard collisions, and there's going to be some tears when robots break when you wouldn't expect.
Yeah,
I do too.
yeah.
I think the chassis will largely be okay. You're going to have things poking into other robots, ripping out wires, messing with mechanisms.
Yep. Your wire management is a simple thing that will make a big difference in this game.
Yeah.
Right. That's a key. Well, that's at every level. That's
That's
at every
true.
level.
Well, yeah.
Yes. It'll make you or break you. And sometimes, like, you need to route them right. You need to make sure you can get to them, especially during inspection, because you don't want to have to take your robot halfway apart just to prove something. So,
Mhm.
all right, guys. Well, we've been going at it for 42 minutes. We could do this for hours. So I want to thank you guys for coming on board. I will leave you guys with one interesting story. Okay. I camp in the summer at not a residential camp, at a seasonal campground. The camper behind mine last year, I was mowing my lawn and the guy said, is your name Pete? And I said, yeah. He says, is your name Peter D. Eckman? And I said, yeah. I said, how do you know my name? He goes, I'm Jeff. And Jeff was my boss at my first job when I was in high school, when I was 15 years old. And it was very interesting that Jeff lived behind me. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is Jeff has a son named Jackson. And I talked about robotics when we were catching up over the last 2 years. I said, "Yeah, I do high school robotics. It's great stuff." Jackson's 10, I think, and hi Jackson. I'm not going to use last names because he didn't sign an agreement, so I can release that. But he'll know who I'm talking about. But Jackson is signed up for an FTC team this year, and he's very excited. So I would say, hey, we do a podcast. I'll shout out to Jackson. So hi, Jackson. It's just a very small world, robotics is. And I thought that's cool
Yep.
that me and Jeff knew each other at like 15, and now, my kids are much older than his are, but it's that commonality of robotics. So I thought I'd share that because I thought it was pretty cool. I'm always talking about robotics, probably more than people want me to talk about it, but hey, that's what I do.
I have the same problem.
I know you do.
Same
Jacob, do you
here.
suffer from that too?
When you run all these teams,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just live there.
Yeah, you're running 8 teams. I only run 1 team. So, but it's when school goes back in session, I get that feeling. I can't wait for January because that's when the game comes out. I'm scheming and I'm trying to break things down. We don't have any usually do a teaser with the release of the FTC.
Mhm.
I don't think they did one this year for FRC yet. I'll have
No.
to go look.
I don't remember seeing anything.
Me neither.
Yeah, which
Been
is
so
usually
locked
weird.
in.
They usually release one there
Well,
just to
last
tease
year
us.
they kind of outdid themselves with all the water game references.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe they're dialing it back a little this year.
Yeah, we're going to the desert. We went from the water to the desert.
Yeah.
I
Well,
hope you are not right, Ed. I hope you are not right about a
I,
stacking game with heavy objects. Just saying.
I hope I'm not, but I fear that I'm in the ballpark.
I want a shooting game. I like shooting games. It
I do
makes it
too.
entertaining.
I love building shooters. And it's not just because the kids always find a way to hit me in the face. I mean that's part of the fun of the season, but shooting games are always my favorite.
When your kids watch this, you're right. We'll like shooting you in the face. So
Oh, yeah.
They're more dynamic to watch, right? They're more
Yes.
appealing to like the average watcher too, right?
Yes.
Like they go like, "Oh, get it in the goal,"
yeah.
And then
And
every now and
rebuild.
then one goes "Whoop," that way
Yeah.
off into the crowd.
And rebuild is a very interesting name for a game
Yes.
for
Not
FRC.
rebuilt.
Rebuilt, which means it's a prior game that we're going to rehash and redo.
Ooh, I like that prediction a lot. But like rebuilt does not necessarily like if I'm building something,
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine that even for this like Decode, I was like the theme of this year, like shooting game, did not expect it because like this whole season feel like artifacts. I couldn't picture us throwing artifacts, right? So
I was thinking pick and place for FTC.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But FTC is almost always pick and place. So
It
like
is. It is. So I just don't want, God, I don't want this. I just don't want this. I do not want to redo Recycle Rush. I hate that game. Hate that game.
they need to redeem themselves.
We could do Lunacy. I'd rather do Lunacy again than Recycle Rush. Just saying. Okay.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah. So Ed, tell us who you are again, and we will get the laundry list of teams that you support in the show notes. So go.
Okay. I am Ed Wynne. I'm the high school coach at Hartland, Michigan. And I am the lead programming mentor for all 3 of our FTC teams this year.
Jacob, you're up next.
I'm Jacob Hardy, and I am the middle school program director for Tractor Nation, focusing on tractor technicians in training.
I want to thank you guys for giving us some time. I know it's busy for FTC season. Ed, real quick, where are you guys going for your first event?
I don't know yet.
Jacob, where are you going for your first event?
We're hosting.
Oh, okay. Are you hosting yet this year, Ed?
We have
hosting?
yes, we have a tournament on the weekend of December. No. You know what?
It's in November, isn't it?
It's end of November. Hold
Okay.
on. I just wrote this down.
Jacob, he's going to ask me if I'm going to help watch.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. See?
I have to.
Yeah. I've done
November
it.
7th and 8th.
Okay. November 7th and 8th. I will
Hey,
make sure
you
my
wanna be
wife
our
knows she's hearing this. So make sure, because you're going to ask me to volunteer to be an MC, and I will do that
Cool.
that weekend. It's always fun. I love watching FTC games, especially this game's going to be kind of cool. So,
Oh yeah, this one will be a fun one.
all right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Good luck with the season. We'll check with you sometime before the end of the season. Before we hit FRC, we'll catch you guys up and see how you guys are doing. All right.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All right.